In the dim glow of a rainy Portland evening, as the coffee steam curled between us like unspoken secrets, she looked me straight in the eyes and said, "If you want to walk away right now, I won't hold it against you. I have a child." My heart stopped, the world blurred, and in that split second, I knew this wasn't just a date, it was the moment that could redefine everything I thought I wanted from love. But what if walking away meant missing the greatest story of my life? Stick with me through the rain-soaked streets and heartfelt confessions, and you'll see how one honest revelation turned fear into the deepest bond I've ever known, a tale that proves true connection isn't about perfection, but about choosing to stay when it's easiest to leave. It all started on a crisp autumn afternoon when I swiped right on Sarah's profile out of sheer boredom during my lunch break at the advertising firm. I was 32, jaded from a string of failed relationships that left me questioning if genuine connections even existed anymore. My last girlfriend had ghosted me after 6 months, claiming I was too focused on my career, which was code for me burying myself in work to avoid the vulnerability that came with opening up. Portland's vibrant art scene and endless coffee shops were my playground, but they felt increasingly empty. Sarah's photo caught my eye, not because she was strikingly beautiful in that polished, Instagram-filtered way, but because her smile seemed real, like it carried stories behind it. Her bio was simple: lover of books, rainy days, and honest conversations. Seeking someone who isn't afraid of a little depth. We matched, and our messages flowed effortlessly. She laughed at my dumb jokes about how Portland's weather was basically a mood ring for the city, gray and introspective most days. She shared her passion for indie bookstores and how she'd spend hours lost in novels that explored the human heart. I told her about my secret dream of writing a book someday, something I'd never admitted to anyone else. After a week of texting, I mustered the courage to ask her out. "How about coffee at that little cafe on Hawthorne? The one with the mismatched mugs?" She agreed, and just like that, I was nervous in a way I hadn't been since high school. The day of the date arrived with a light drizzle, the kind that makes everything feel poetic. I got there early, fiddling with my phone to calm my nerves. When Sarah walked in, shaking rain from her umbrella, my breath caught. She was even more captivating in person, curly auburn hair framing a face with kind eyes that crinkled at the corners when she smiled. We ordered our drinks, black coffee for me, a lavender latte for her. From the first sip, the conversation ignited. We talked about everything and nothing, our favorite childhood memories, the books that changed us, even our biggest fears. Mine was ending up alone, surrounded by superficial successes but no one to share them with. Hers was simpler, not being enough for the people I love. As the hours slipped by, the cafe emptied around us, but we didn't notice. She shared how she'd moved to Portland from Seattle 2 years ago, seeking a fresh start after a tough breakup. I opened up about my parents' divorce when I was a kid, how it made me wary of commitment, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. There was a vulnerability in her voice that mirrored my own hidden insecurities, and for the first time in years, I felt seen, not as the polished ad executive, but as Alex, the guy who still cried watching old movies about lost love. We laughed until our sides hurt when she recounted a disastrous blind date where the guy spent the evening talking about his cryptocurrency investments, and I confessed to once burning dinner so badly on a date that we had to order pizza instead. But beneath the laughter, there was an undercurrent of something deeper. Sarah had a quiet strength about her, the kind forged from life's harder edges. She spoke of resilience in a way that made me reflect on my own life, how I'd dodged real emotional risks by keeping things light. As the rain picked up outside, tapping against the window like a gentle reminder, she leaned in and said, "You know, Alex, it's rare to meet someone who listens like you do. Most people are just waiting for their turn to speak." My heart swelled. In that moment, I realized this wasn't just a good date, it was the kind that could shift your entire trajectory. We decided to extend the evening with a walk along the waterfront, umbrellas bumping as we strolled under the streetlights. The city lights reflected off the Willamette River, and for a fleeting instant, everything felt possible. Little did I know, the real test was about to come, one that would challenge every assumption I held about love and what it meant to truly show up for someone. The walk turned into dinner at a cozy Italian place nearby, where we shared pasta and stories of our dreams. Sarah wanted to open her own bookstore someday, a haven for misfits and dreamers. I dreamed of quitting my job to travel and write, but fear always held me back. As the wine loosened our tongues, she touched my hand across the table, and electricity sparked. It was effortless, natural, like we'd known each other for years. But as the night deepened, I sensed a hesitation in her, a subtle shift in her eyes, as if she was weighing whether to reveal something heavy. We lingered over dessert, the tiramisu sweet on our lips, and talked about family. I mentioned my distant relationship with my siblings, how holidays felt obligatory rather than joyful. She nodded thoughtfully, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass. "Family is everything to me," she said softly, her voice carrying a weight I couldn't yet understand. By the time we stepped out into the now pouring rain, sharing a cab back to her neighborhood, I was hooked. This woman wasn't just interesting, she was the kind of person who made you want to be better. As the cab pulled up to her apartment building, she turned to me, rain streaking the windows, and that's when she dropped the bombshell that would define us. "If you want to walk away right now, I won't hold it against you. I have a child." Her words hung in the air like the rain suspended on the cab's windshield. Time froze. Sarah's eyes searched mine, vulnerable yet resolute, as if she'd said this before and braced for rejection. My mind raced. A child? I hadn't seen that coming. Her profile hadn't mentioned it, and our conversations had skirted around anything too personal about her past. Panic bubbled up, visions of diaper changes, school runs, and the chaos of stepping into a ready-made family. At 32, I was still figuring out my own life. How could I handle someone else's? But then I looked at her, really looked, the woman who'd made me laugh harder than I had in years, who'd shared dreams that resonated with my soul. Walking away felt like abandoning a part of myself I'd just discovered. I didn't bolt. Instead, I asked her to tell me more. We sat in the cab, meter running, as she opened up about Liam, her 4-year-old son. His father had left when Liam was a baby, unable to handle the responsibility. Sarah had raised him alone, juggling a job as a graphic designer with motherhood's endless demands. It's not easy, she admitted, tears glistening in her eyes. There are nights I cry from exhaustion, wondering if I'm doing enough. But Liam, he's my light. He's funny, curious, and he teaches me more about love than anyone ever has. Her story hit me like a wave, relatable in its raw humanity. I'd grown up with a single mom after my dad left, watching her struggle yet thrive. Sarah wasn't asking for a savior, she was offering a chance to be part of something real, if I was brave enough. The challenges started almost immediately. Our second date was at a park, where I met Liam for the first time. He was a whirlwind of energy, with curly hair like his mom's and a gap-toothed grin that melted my reservations. But as he raced around the playground, I felt the weight of it all. What if I wasn't cut out for this? Doubts crept in, societal whispers about dating single parents, the fear of attachment only to have it end badly. One evening, after Liam had a meltdown over bedtime, Sarah and I argued for the first time. "This is my reality, Alex," she said, frustration etching her face. "If it's too much, I understand." I stormed out, driving aimlessly through the rain-slicked streets, my mind a storm of emotions. Memories flooded back, my own childhood instability, the way I'd built walls to protect myself. Was I repeating patterns, or could I break them? Resolution came slowly, through small, intentional steps. I sought advice from my best friend, who reminded me that love wasn't a fairy tale, it was messy, rewarding work. I started showing up, helping with Liam's bedtime stories, where we'd read about adventures that mirrored our own budding one. Sarah and I had deep talks on her balcony, overlooking the city lights, about our fears and hopes. She shared the isolation of single parenthood, the judgmental glances at playgrounds, the exhaustion of doing it all alone. I confessed my terror of failure, how past heartbreaks had made me guarded. Together, we navigated the hurdles, balancing dates with Liam's schedule, dealing with her ex's occasional drama, and my own career pressures that sometimes left me distant. There were setbacks, like the time I canceled a weekend getaway because of work, leaving Sarah feeling secondary. But we communicated, apologized, and grew. Liam became a bridge, not a barrier. His innocent questions about the world forced me to see life through fresh eyes, reminding me of the joy in simplicity. Months turned into a year, and what started as a tentative choice evolved into a profound commitment. We moved in together, turning Sarah's cozy apartment into our home, filled with Liam's laughter and our shared dreams. The key challenge, my initial fear of the unknown, resolved when I realized that embracing her life wasn't a sacrifice, it was an expansion of my own. Sarah taught me patience, Liam showed me unconditional love, and together, they healed parts of me I'd long ignored. One rainy evening, much like our first date, I proposed by the waterfront, ring in hand under an umbrella. "I choose you, all of you," I said, echoing her courage from that pivotal night. In the end, our story isn't about perfection, it's about the beauty of choosing love amid life's complexities. If you're watching this, remember, the greatest connections often come wrapped in challenges that test your heart. Don't walk away from what scares you, embrace it, and you might just find the family, the purpose, and the love you've always sought. True bonds are built on honesty, resilience, and the quiet bravery to stay.